Hello, amazing math students from Mrs. Marcellus. Today's lesson is Understand Rates and Unit Rates. Our learning objective is students will find a unit rate by writing a rate, then simplifying that rate so it has a denominator of 1. Today's vocabulary words are rate and unit rate. A rate is a type of ratio that compares two quantities with unlike units of measure. A unit rate is a rate comparing a quantity to 1 unit of another quantity. When written as a fraction, a unit rate always has a denominator of 1. Also, a unit rate must have a label to be complete. Let's take a look at our first example. In our first problem, Tyler picks 45 oranges in 5 minutes. Express this as a unit rate. The first step is to write the given rate. We do this the same as writing a ratio because remember, a rate is a special type of ratio. We have 45 oranges in 5 minutes, so 45 will be the numerator and 5 will be the denominator. To express this as a unit rate, we will then need to simplify our rate. In order to do this, we must divide 5 minutes by 5, because 5 divided by 5 equals 1. Whatever we do to the denominator, we must also do to the numerator. So that means that we need to divide both the top and the bottom by 5. You will always divide both the top and the bottom by the denominator. Once we do this, we have our unit rate. Tyler can pick 9 oranges in 1 minute. This is one way to write the answer, but there are some other acceptable ways. You could also write the answer as 9 oranges per minute, and you can simplify minute to be MIN because that's a common and standard abbreviation, or you could write 9 oranges / minute, which implies 1 minute. Let's try another example. Emily types 455 words in 7 minutes. Express this as a unit rate. Again, we will start with the given rate, which we will write as 455 words over 7 minutes, and simplify from there. Since we need the denominator to be 1, divide both the top and bottom by 7. This will give us our unit rate of 65 words a minute. You could also write this as 65 words per minute. You could write 65 words / minute, or in this case we could use the very common abbreviation 65 WPM. If it's a well-known abbreviation such as words per minute WPM or miles per gallon MPG or miles per hour MPH, it's okay to use that. However, if it's something like the number of hot dogs eaten per minute, we couldn't use HDPM because that wouldn't be a common abbreviation that everyone would know. In our next example, we have the Griswolds. If they travel 411 miles in 6 hours at a constant speed, how many miles per hour is Mr. Griswold driving? The first step is to set up the original rate. So we begin with 411 miles over 6 hours. Then we need a denominator of 1. So we will divide both the top and the bottom by 6. You may be noticing a pattern that each time we divide by the denominator. Another way you can approach the problem is to simply think the top number divided by the bottom number. We can divide 411 by 6 and still get the same result. Once we divide by 6, we find that Mr. Griswold is driving at 68.5 miles per hour. It is okay when you're working with unit rates to have a decimal inside your fraction. Whenever you're finding the unit price, we are finding the cost per unit. When you're asked for unit price, the price of the item will go on top and the item unit will go on the bottom. Sometimes word problems are not written in this order, so it's important to know that it's price divided by unit. 4 deluxe hanging baskets cost $88. What is the cost per basket? Since we are finding the cost per basket, we know that the cost or the price goes on top and the number of baskets goes on the bottom. even though that's opposite of the order that they're given in the word problem. The first thing we will do is write the given rate of $88 for 4 baskets. Since we need a denominator of 1, we will divide by 4. Once we divide by 4, we learn that it costs $22 for 1 basket. In our final problem, the cost for 8 games of bowling is $60. What is the price per game? Since we are asked to find the price per game, this is a unit price, and the price will be our numerator, and the number of games of bowling will be the denominator. We'll start out by writing the given rate of $60 for 8 games. To find the unit price, we need a denominator of 1, which means we will have to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 8. You can also think of this as 60 divided by 8, because that's the same thing. And we learned that the cost is $7.50 for 1 game of bowling. This concludes our lesson on rates and unit rates.